Headline
By the way, I
news.
want to go to Nick Wright, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Now, before we get to the Bills-Chiefs game, which is just going to be really lopsided, let's forget that for a second.
I agree. Well, go ahead.
So I saw this morning, and I think you and I are on the same page here. The Brooklyn Nets are a 72% chance, according to the NBA GM survey, to win the championship. And I'm like, they still have no rim protector. Two of their best players are always hurt. Kyrie's on his own spaceship. What is your take? I mean, I don't even understand. I mean, you and I think
we just have to stop acting like the Nets have a big three. The Nets' big three is an idea. It's something you can use in 2K. It's not something that existed last year in the regular season. It didn't exist in the postseason. It's the preseason, and it doesn't exist now. Kyrie either will get vaxxed or he won't. If he doesn't get vaxxed, then I don't see how he can play at all. You can't have a guy who can't practice or play home games and be like, we'll see you on the road, though. So he's either on the team or he's not. But even if he's on the team, what makes you think he's actually on the team? Last year, he took paid time off mid-year just cuz, and then he did what he typically does, which is get hurt for the postseason. 2015, he wasn't available for the end of the postseason. 2018, 2020, 2021. So scratch him off the table. And then you have James Harden, one of the best regular season players ever, whose next great playoff moment will be his first. So then you have Kevin Durant, who's unquestionably one of the 15 greatest players in league history. However, he doesn't have a ton of experience of playoff success without another league MVP alongside him. The one time he had to play in the playoffs without Russell Westbrook and OKC, couldn't beat Zach Randolph and the Memphis Grizzlies, and last year they didn't get out of round 2. So I get the idea of the Brooklyn Nets. They're like an NFT. It sounds good, but can you touch it? No. So I don't understand how we're just going to be like, yeah, their third best player currently is not allowed in the building, and the NBA made a rule specifically designated to change the way their second best player plays, but I'm sure they're going to be fine. I don't think they're going to be fine.
By the way, just one more NBA topic, because the regular season starts here pretty quick. LeBron, by the GMs, voted, it's amazing, top 5 at 3 different positions, and I know that struck you at some point.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just fascinating. I mean, so LeBron's going into year 19, and the GMs of the league said he's one of the 5 best point guards and one of the 5 best small forwards and one of the 5 best power forwards. And so Kobe probably had the best year 19 of any player. He played 35 games and averaged 22 points. Duncan, it was his final year. He was 8 points a game. Karl Malone, it was his one Lakers year. He was 14 points a game. Kareem was around the same. It was his second last year. Meanwhile, LeBron in year 19 is considered a top 5 guy at 3 of the 5 positions on the court. It is, and I don't want to get into the Jordan, LeBron, Kareem debate, but it is why, when it is all said and done and people look at this years down the road, they are going to say, how did people even ever argue about this? When Michael Jordan was 5 years removed from his last game, LeBron was a top 5 guy at 3 different spots. So, yeah, I mean, I'm bullish on LeBron this season, and I think the NBA GMs are as well. That we agree on. We disagree, though, on, I think, everything football-related, but I chalk that up to you probably taking too much cold medicine this year, because you can't really believe what you've been saying.
Okay, so let's pivot to Nick's NFL tiers, where he remains, despite the fact that the Chiefs are 31st in, like, almost every defensive category. They are a spectacular offensive team, and great offenses are always around at the end of the season. This is not the 70s or 80s. The Chiefs have led in 65 straight games. They'll be around. That is not the question. The question is, will Mahomes often be a spectator at times against the better teams he'll face? So your NFL tiers, let's go to it. Let's tell people your tiers and where you're at this morning.
Well, yeah, listen, I have the Chiefs as the favorite, and I know it puts me in the drastic minority. It's just me and literally every sports book in Vegas and our friends at Fox Bet. They also have the Chiefs as the favorite. Where you won't see on there is your beloved Denver Broncos, who I believe as of last week you had as the 4th best team in football.
Yeah.
And I bring up the Broncos not to needle you, but because you are making the exact mistake with the Bills you made with the Broncos. You're like, oh my God, the Bills. The Bills. Have you seen them the last few weeks? Colin, how many teams in the league do you think would be 3-1 or better if they had gone up against Big Ben, Jacoby Brissett, Taylor Heineke, and Davis Mills? Those are the 4 quarterbacks the Buffalo Bills have faced. The idea that you are not building into your math on how good the Bills are, the fact that they have played nothing but dreadful teams, is insane to me.
Right.
The Chiefs, meanwhile, yes, they have lost. They played the Ravens to the final moment. The Browns they beat. They played the Chargers to the final moment. And now they play the Bills. They're going to have a tough schedule. That's fine. But what makes you think that Buffalo can go to Kansas City and win? What makes you think that?
Because,
what's the evidence of it?
Because Buffalo's better than the Chargers, and the Chargers did it. Yeah, that's pretty simple.
Okay. Yeah, and the Chiefs are better than the Steelers. So then I guess it's not the transitive property does not apply in sports, and you know this. There are one-off events. However, I do believe the Bills will win if the Chiefs turn the ball over on their first 3 possessions like they did with the Chargers. But nobody thinks they're going to do that. And by the way, America, because Colin Cowherd won't tell you this, he's too busy slandering my guy Baker Mayfield and other things. But somebody on this wonderful Herd production staff put up on the screen at some point today Josh Allen's stats this season next to basically any other quarterback. Because he's looking up in the standings of passer rating at the likes of Daniel Jones and Taylor Heineke. He's 27th in the league in completion percentage. The Bills up to this point in the season are winning despite Josh Allen regressing back to rookie or second-year Josh Allen. That's a statistical fact. Nobody wants to tell you about it on this show, which is why I'm here to speak true, hard, emotionless facts to Colin Cowherd.
Well, it's a pretty good argument. Okay, so I said this earlier. When you're smart, you don't get to conveniently be glib, absent-minded, forgetful, like Belichick Deflategate. Yeah, I don't know what's happening to the footballs. You know literally everything with the organization. Phil Jackson years ago would needle the refs in between games, get fined, and go, it's just a random comment. I mean, you can't talk about officials? No, Phil, everybody knows that. Aaron Rodgers is really smart. There's a term called in business the ability to see around corners. He's very smart. He knows the only time he won a Super Bowl, he had his best defense. Peyton Manning's only Indianapolis Super Bowl, he had his best defense. Russell Wilson's only Super Bowl, his best defense. Tom Brady, majority of Super Bowls, with his best defense. Aaron looks at Mike Tomlin and that defensive team in Pittsburgh, and he knows the Packers, if they'd move him, would move him over to the AFC, and he knows, oh, hell, I can inherit Mike Tomlin's defense, the Rooneys. Great GM. I'm not saying
everything about it.
I'm not saying it's happening, but let's not be ridiculous and don't think Aaron at least is putting the seed out there, right?
Why don't we say it's happening? Why is it not happening? What's Pittsburgh's other option? You're totally right that Green Bay does not want to trade him within the conference. So just scratch off 15 teams.
Right.
And then in the AFC, it's a very short list of teams that don't either have their quarterback established or have just drafted one, like Jacksonville or Cincinnati or the Jets. So it's like Miami, Pittsburgh, and the Colts, I guess. That's almost the entire list. So listen, I think on this one, you have totally redeemed your otherwise really shaky NFL takes today. I think this is spot on. I think him winking at Tomlin was not subtle. This is like, this is the couple that's in marriage counseling and the guy is actively flirting with the counselor. It's like, okay.